You're now listening to The Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where three relatively grown men binge the iconic HBO series Sex and the City. So dust off those DVDs and grab yourself a white wine or even a Cosmopolitan and settle in. Take it away, boys.
Welcome to the Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where three guys watch Sex and the City for the first time ever. Mostly. Hi, I'm Cory Cavin.
I'm Kevin James Doyle.
I'm Cory Cavin.
I'm Cory Cavin.
I'm Jon Sieber.
Dang it.
And I'm Kevin James Doyle, here to introduce our guest,
Dear friend.
Rebekah Melocik, everybody. Melocik?
Yeah.
Gosh, you're actually the
friend.
only guest we've had that,
Our
like,
dear friend
that I
whose name-
actually
Our dear friend.
Right before you started to say, I was
Rebekah
like, he's not going to know because John's been saying it wrong for years.
I will
and
say this.
Only corrected him like a week ago.
I've always heard.
I do Melocik.
That's how I've always
Yeah.
heard your name pronounced.
Look, truthfully, there's no way that it was Melocik in the mother country. It was like Melocik. So,
What is the mother country?
it's Bohemian. It's like Eastern
Oh, wow,
European.
you were-
I'm a quarter of that.
You are?
Yeah.
Our people.
We're gypsies.
I
You were
thought
totally gypsies.
And you are such a bohemian person.
Oh,
I
thank
thought
you.
Bohemian was just a phase.
Yeah.
It's
I didn't
both.
realize it's a country.
I know, both well.
The
It's also a beer, Bohemia.
Rebekah is you're a lyricist for musicals.
They don't actually know
And
me.
you're a
They
writer.
just pulled me up off this job.
I was going to say your two best friends are like, here's
She is a computer programmer.
We're really
and
excited
what do you
that she's
do?
here.
What's
her name is Rabbi Mushrooms, and she writes words.
This is the problem that we had. Is usually since we don't know the people, we're like, how should we introduce you? And with this, it's like, what's your name?
No,
What's
I'll
she
tell
do?
you what the
Who is
actual
she?
problem is
Oh,
usually
fuck you.
Cory does the introductions and you decide to spearhead it this time and you drop the ball and embarrass yourself.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
did.
hard because he knows me so well. He's like, well, she's, she does so much. She's a writer, but she's also a lady.
And
He didn't say either of those things. He said neither of those.
Here is something that we do know about you, Rebekah. Is that your name?
Yeah, that's
that's
it.
her
She is a true fan of the show.
I am. And that's really what got me on. I'm a true fan of the show.
No,
Of the show,
we had
wait.
you on the list, but then when you came here and you were just like, you've listened to all the episodes?
I've listened to all the episodes.
When you say the show, you don't mean Sex and the City.
No,
you
I
mean
mean-
the Bradshaw Boys.
I'm a Bradshaw Boys
Well,
fan.
tell us your experience with Sex and the City.
It is limited almost entirely to the Bradshaw Boys.
Man,
That's great.
Yeah, we didn't have cable when I was growing up, so I didn't have HBO, and I watched a few episodes with girlfriends in high school and in college. I just wasn't that into it. And then, support, love. I started listening to the podcast, and now I love it. And it's been really hard not to watch ahead, but I haven't done it at all.
Oh, it's one of the hardest things I have to do every week.
Yeah.
yeah.
But it
Know that I have
also...
to save it up for the guys.
But it's satisfying. It's like if I don't get my workouts in, if I don't hit my deadlines, it's fine. At least I didn't watch Sex in the City
Good job.
before Wednesday.
My whole life is falling apart. But
This one thing.
so what was your college show? Or like the show you said everyone watched it, then what was your show? And then what I want to ask you a few Sex and the City questions.
In college, we watched Strangers with Candy. We watched, funny stuff, weird stuff.
Yeah.
And was that the question? Was there more to it?
Yeah, I didn't know if you were like what you were into at the time, so that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't honestly. I've never.
And you went to school in New York, right?
No, I went to USC. I did LA.
Kevin, have you ever met Rebekah before?
Seriously.
See, that was a lead-in.
Oh, yeah. It was a great
That was a
lead.
lead-in.
We're getting to know each other on the air. It's actually really special.
Yeah.
I went to school in Los Angeles, so I should know more about the world of TV, but I don't. I watch
Well-
TV when people tell me what to watch.
Did
I'll watch
you
it.
study film in college?
Nah, I studied poetry.
Okay.
That's the reveal.
That's why you're from Bohemia.
That's why I'm from Bohemia. I'm a gypsy who writes poetry and likes comedy podcasts.
Oh, God. Where's my watch? My watch is gone. My watch is gone. Stop the podcast.
So what's been your favorite, if you have a favorite scene or favorite experience so far since watching the show along with us? Or favorite character?
Capote Duncan, obviously.
Well, there you go.
Absolutely.
You're clearly someone whose experience of Sex and the City is our show. Because most people that have watched the whole show are like, who's Capote Duncan?
You know, this isn't a scene, but I really liked your live show, and I'm not just blowing smoke. It was so fun to listen to, and I really enjoyed listening to the wonderful actress
Heather Barkley,
who was such a spitfire and so fun. I loved her.
Heather Barkley, if you've listened to the podcast, is the woman that played the cheese shop lady in Secret Sex, the season 1
6,
episode?
I think.
Episode 6, yeah.
And then she was on our live show.
On our live show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that actually, as that was happening, because the live show was nerve-wracking and everything while you're doing it. And then when she started talking, it was just like, when you hear someone saying stuff that you're like, this is so interesting to us and people are going to love it. Her interview was like one of the highlights of the entire podcast, I thought.
Yeah, it was, especially to hear her take on when she was actually doing the show. Because you never know when something's going to be a phenomenon when you're like this podcast. You had no idea.
You're very kind.
No, you guys knew. But you know what I mean? Like, you don't know when something's going to be such a huge deal right at the start. And then
she even said that. She was like, when she was filming the show, everyone on the crew was like, I don't know. It's just like a show. This is a job.
Which is wild.
Which they didn't know it was going to be a huge thing or anything like that.
And then our last guest was literally an author who wrote about the cultural importance of the show.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, the one
on
on last episode. Yeah, that's crazy. Wait, so you went to USC in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You are currently watching Sex and the City, but you are a woman that lives in New York City, and you have lived here for a while?
I've lived here for 12 years.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, long time. The only place I've lived longer is Ohio. I lived there for 14 years.
America's Bohemia.
America's, that's what they call it.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's on
That's
the
their
license
logo.
plate. I think it's on the license plate.
America's Bohemia.
Yeah. And I write musicals, just to make that clear.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Kevin, did you know that?
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Wait, you guys didn't get that from the intro?
Yeah.
You didn't pick that up from the intro.
I realized I was like, oh, well, I could just be mysterious the whole time. Like, who's that lady?
I said lyricist,
You did.
Yeah, it's
but
true.
then everyone stepped in and made fun of how I actually got things wrong before that, because
Listen.
I almost said composer.
Listen, some people call it an intro or stuttering, whatever.
On the first date I went on with my wife, I didn't know the difference between a composer and a conductor. And I was like, my friend is composing that music right now for the show. And she's like, that music was written like 700 years ago. You have no idea what you're talking about, or you're a compulsive liar. And I was like, no, he is composing it. I swear.
Listen, he is. He's a
Not
vampire.
fair though, because I feel like if you were talking about a train conductor and some other job that someone has on a train, I wouldn't know the difference.
You don't know. So if there's a train composer and a train conductor,
Train composer. Well, back in the atmosphere. That's a train composer.
Yeah.
Drops of Jupiter in her hair. Yeah.
I will say if you
Baby.
No, it's not baby, it's Tell Me. I love that song so much.
a great
Unironically.
song.
It's
It's
such
a great song.
Drops of Jupiter. So good.
Wait, is that?
wait, isn't there a band called Mr. Big too?
Yeah, oh yeah, Mr.
Oh, yeah.
Big was.
Hold on, little girl. Show me what he's done to me.
And wait, wasn't there a movie? There's a movie called Carrie, I think. Oh my gosh, I'm covered in blood. It's prom.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's the theme song for it. Oh my gosh, I'm covered in blood. It's prom.
It was a musical. Didn't they make
It was a
Carrie a
musical.
musical?
They did make
Yeah,
Carrie.
and there's also a book about Carrie the musical.
Okay, wait. Since before, okay, we'll do it at the end. Since you have you live in the theater district and you do musical, we got to do, for those people that want to visit New York, maybe we'll do a quick musical theater run through with you where you can talk about theater real quick.
Oh, I
And
love that.
We need to talk about this episode. Perfect for you. We didn't even plan this. The chicken dance. Maybe there'll be some musical theater.
Oh,
some
yeah.
chicken dancing. Who knows?
All right.
And we'll send you guys off for this portion with Kevin once again singing Train.
Hold on, little girl.
All right, see you soon.
Episode 19, The Chicken Dance. Carrie gets fed up with Big's inability to pay attention to her. Miranda inadvertently sets her interior designer up with a long-distance would-be boyfriend, and they marry after only 4 weeks. Charlotte has a warp-speed relationship with a guy she meets at the wedding, and Samantha is upset when she experiences déjà-screw. And now, back to the boys.
Will you make that noise you made, Rebekah?
Oh, wow.
One more time.
Oh, that's really hard when
Do
I'm
it.
laughing now, huh?
Okay. And we're back.
That was a
Doink. You're doing that by flicking
All right,
your cheek.
should we do a reel, or is this what we really want to go with?
I'm fine with that. I just think
that.
we just watched
the chicken dance.
the chicken dance.
The chicken dance.
Because it's the wedding. I was just trying to figure out why it was the chicken dance. You got to have a chicken dance on there?
Now, did they do the chicken dance at the wedding?
No.
They
Not
did
that
it.
I saw.
They do it every wedding. I did notice a lot of things we don't do at weddings anymore. Like
Such
the
as?
guest book.
I had a guess.
Marriage in general. It's changed
Is
as
there
an
someone that-
institution. We don't even do that.
Is there someone that stands there and says sign
I'm
the
having
guest
a
book?
panic attack then whether or not we had a guest book. And
I don't
know
think
my
you
wife's
did.
gonna listen to this.
I feel like you did. I don't know. You
I
you
had
had
a
a more.
guess.
You had a traditional wedding, like a big traditional wedding.
I don't know. I was in a cave.
Well, the reception.
Yeah.
The reception was in a cave.
we definitely did not have a
You
guest
did it-
book attendant.
You did have a
know that
very
job is
traditional
real.
wedding. You had a man that looks like Thor do a ballet
That's true.
to I don't know much, but I know I love you.
Linda Ronstadt, man, you gotta.
And Aaron Neville.
And Aaron Neville.
Welcome back. We're really excited to be talking about the Chicken Dance, season 2, episode 7.
So the beginning. Well, sorry, John. I think I interrupted you. You're going to give us a rundown.
I'm having a tough time actually pinpoint what the arc of this.
I had a hard time
like
kind
the
of
through
zoning
line
in
of
for
the,
it.
of the episode is. Does anyone else like?
It was I think it was the people's level of marriage. Charlotte really was excited for it. The one girl got it. Miranda wanted it. It was all based about that party and that.
So it was-
and Miranda
So I think
being
it was
like,
love at first sight. Love at first sight was does it exist? Is it real? And people-
short list for a worst title based on how many good titles they've had.
I'm wondering if we missed something about the chicken dance.
Did we watch the right episode?
Yes.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
But I wondered that too because I was like,
Is the chicken dance? Is that also? Is
dance
it
of
not just the
mating?
dance itself? No. I was going to ask: is it like everybody's doing it? Is there another meaning to the chicken dance that we just
musical
don't know?
people is the chicken dance have any sort of
Is it? That's the one
is
that
it
goes
relative to anything other than that dance?
I love to skate.
I love to skate.
Yeah, because when you're skating, that was a big skating song.
Like a
That's
skating
oh
rink.
yeah, I don't think about weddings for the. I've never.
I think
heard the
about
chicken
like a
dance
hockey
at a wedding.
game or like a big like a
Roller
basketball
skating
game.
party.
roller skating.
But maybe that's what they were trying to say.
You
is
said that. You
Love is
said
like roller
that.
skating.
You said that at me. You were like roller skating
skating
party.
party.
I'm mad, dude.
I
I'm
know.
mad that you didn't bring it up. Like,
Hey,
there's a lot-
listen. My friend was a professional mascot, and they played it at the hockey games that he mascoted.
roller skating.
Yeah. Well, go to a New Jersey Devils game in 2007, and you would have heard it there too.
Was he roller skating?
No, he was ice skating, shooting T-shirts out of a gun.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I gotta go with Kevin. I think it's. Sorry, John. I don't know. For me, it was less about the love at first sight, and it was more about that question of marriage, especially the way that it ended. For me, that was like the whole question was: should we get married? Do we want to get married? Why am I not getting married? And like you work yourself into a frenzy. So frenzied, you might do a chicken dance.
It's possible.
so frenzied. You may find yourself at a roller skating
But
party.
I do think John made a good point that like all of this one, instead of it being 4 different storylines, it is 4 different storylines, but they all kind of converge on this big wedding. Whereas like the episodes, like other ones we've watched were like the cheating curve, the last episode we
Right.
watched, it was like everyone's cheating in some different way, even if it's not a relationship. This one was like the chicken dance. We all go to a wedding.
I
Like,
think it's
just,
because of the title, though, because Samantha doesn't want to get married. That she's run out of people to have sex with.
Yeah.
So she thinks she might have to get married.
So she thinks she might have to get married.
Okay.
Charlotte meets this guy. Well, and then
We'll talk about this. but
yeah, she is like, I'm tired of the bride. I'm gonna wear what I wanted. I'm gonna wear this beautiful satin dress, and then and she gets set up with to be the maid
Maid of honor?
not the maid of honor, but she's a bridesmaid.
Bridesmaid.
And he's a
groomsman.
groom man. And
Kevin's
then
never been to a wedding.
thank you, Barca.
Yeah.
And then Carrie, obviously her and Big, because she cheats and gets him invited. I thought that was implied.
Oh,
That
it's
she's
implied
like,
that she's the one that got him invited.
yeah, and she wants to bring him,
And
so
that's
that
why he
she
didn't
can
want to sign the card too,
Yeah.
because she was like, you could still sign the card. Because yeah, she gives a gift.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't want to be involved with
Well,
it.
he was really upset that they got his name somehow.
Yeah, he was, because he was like, why would they know it? And therefore, it's Carrie being like, you
I
should
didn't pick up
invite.
on that.
Tom.
That was
Tom Edwards.
I missed that.
Wait, what was the thing about his name? Because at this point we don't know. We don't know Big's name. His name is just Mr. Big.
Yeah, so I think he was like, I think that was to show that it's like, he's like, how would they know? Like, because she's like, you were invited. He's like, how would they get my name? And clearly it was from, well, she said it was from Miranda. And then what was the last storyline? Miranda. She had the party and the second that he said, I want to get married soon, she was like, oh, sweet, this dude's on my pull-out couch. Hopefully he's not.
I'm opening up a nice bottle of Merlot. Like we're gonna go somewhere.
Oh, and also they said that which was kind of
man. Usually I'm off base, but did you guys watch this episode? Come on, I'm killing it right now. I never pay attention to anything.
Here's why I think it was called the Chicken Dance, because I think the Chicken Dance is normally a song reserved for immature
skating rinks.
It's something that is like silly and dumb and stupid. And they called it that because the wedding was the focal point of the episode, and they're using that title as a juxtaposition to show what the girls really thought of this wedding in some way, or
that it's all
a chicken dance. That it's not real because it was this like love at first sight kind of
like everybody there was a chicken head.
Yeah, which culminates perfectly with them watching the bouquet in super slow motion go right down and fall flat in front of them.
And
where
they weren't going to peck their chicken heads down there to pick it up.
You know what a chicken head is in rap?
Yeah, it's a
girl that sucks dick.
Ooh.
Chicken head.
Oh, yeah. I just thought it was a derogatory term for like a girl that was out there. I didn't realize it was a...
Still sounds like a derogatory term for a girl.
I don't know. Listen, I don't make a judgment on those things.
Yeah. Nothing against chickens.
Nothing against... Listen, if a chicken wants to suck a dick, I'm all for it.
You guys, I'm in the middle of a train of thought here. I'm going to just keep continuing.
Keep going, because we haven't even really recapped the episode.
And I think that the wedding itself is the thing that most people put up on a pedestal. Like the designer lady was super stoked about, and it was the thing in this episode that burned them all in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
It was Carrie got really upset and disgruntled because of Big's desire to be at the wedding and go to the wedding with her and his relationship with her at the wedding. Samantha realized that there was no one left for her to hook up with, culminated with the guy that looked like Turtle at the bar, who she's like, I think I hooked up with you.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Charlotte at the wedding, thinking that she was going to have this great time with this guy, who then got tushy squeezed by his dad.
Yeah.
Not the guy. The guy didn't get
the guy. And then Miranda, of course.
He probably gave her tushy squeeze
going
upstairs.
from guest book signer to van loader.
Right.
Anyway.
And also, right. And I guess did you say the Miranda thing? No, sorry, the Samantha thing, that Samantha earlier in the episode slept with a dude.
Right.
And then as they're having sex, she's like, oh my gosh, I had sex with you. And he was like, yeah, 15 years ago, I thought you were doing that sexy stranger thing.
Yeah.
And then she found
I like that. That was funny. That was a funny goof.
So I have my main thing with this issue, or with this episode is Carrie just really bugged me this episode. What do you guys? And I'll tell you why. She made such a big deal out of that stupid toothbrush head that when you take like little signs like that and you put them on a pedestal and prescribe such importance to them, that you then inversely get burned by the fact that her boyfriend didn't want to put his name on a card. Neither of those things in the grand scheme of things should matter at all. But she pedestaled both of them to such a level that she put so much like joy in one. Like, I have a pink toothbrush head. This is great. And the other one just devastated her so bad, where if she would have just like been normal about both those things, she wouldn't have really had like any sort of emotional swing.
I think you're right. I think, though, as someone who we've had a few guests when they've assigned us people, they've called me a Carrie. I think what you said is judging things rationally by saying, like, it's a toothbrush head, but what I should really do is, like, is this guy going to commit to me? I think Carrie was judging those things by intuition and saying, like, oh my gosh, he got me a thing. I feel like we're getting closer. And then what was the other thing you said? You said the toothbrush head, and then
she got super jazzed about the toothbrush head.
Right.
But then she got super bummed out about the gift card.
Right.
Not signing. When the thing that actually should have bummed her out is him taking the phone call
I agree with that.
in the wedding.
Yeah.
That was actually like a pretty big
Devastating.
I
slight.
feel like he showed his cards very hard there.
But I have problem being empathetic with people like her who like are so emotionally swingy. Where like, this is the best thing ever. He got me a toothbrush head.
Right.
This is the worst thing ever. He won't sign my card. And it's like, if you're on these two polar ends, you can't see the garbage that's actually happening where he's leaving during the middle of your speech to take a phone call.
That is true. Which I do feel like she did see that, and that really let her down. But I also feel like at the end of the episode when she's like, I just want to dance, and he was like, fine, I'll go back in and dance with you. She like let him off way too easy, where she was like,
Right.
okay, good. Like I was like, listen, you gotta now he's just sticking around because he didn't want to get caught or he feels bad or something.
Right.
But I do feel like you were judging those things rationally. I would be more on the empathetic thing. But what I think is an interesting difference between us is I was like, I can see how Carrie feels because I am empathetic like her in that sense. And I'm like, I could see doing that. But I think you're right. Like she's got to be like, this guy's throwing all these signs at you where it's like, it culminates in him getting up and taking a call and showing off the fact that he has a cell phone.
Oh yeah.
Years
and an
back.
electric toothbrush. I got one of
electric
those.
toothbrush thing, I was
That's the
like,
thing. It wasn't just a $2 toothbrush. That was like that's a $15 brush.
Back
head.
then?
Brush
That's
head.
way more than
Back then, that
$50
brush head was probably $35.
Yeah.
And that
Well,
toothbrush was
for-
probably $150.
He's a real estate billionaire, though. He doesn't care.
And,
He's got toothbrushes in every room.
that is true.
She thinks that he only has one pink toothbrush head. He has an entire statue of pink toothbrush heads hidden behind that mirror.
That's true.
I thought too long about that one pink toothbrush head thing of like, well, does he buy a pack and does it have a certain number of each color? I was very confused about why there were like pink and blue boy
Yeah.
and girl toothbrushes.
I know because it's funny her making a lot of it and then also being like, yeah. Also, he just has that ready to give it to some girl who needs to brush her teeth because he's fucking so many.
Do you guys have anything in your life that's a pink toothbrush head? That was like that.
I have a pink toothbrush head.
I've always thought that.
Actually,
I've always thought that brushing your teeth with a girl is like an intimate feeling thing to me.
like standing next to them brushing your
Yeah, there's something about it that it's like oh, we're like getting ready for bed and brushing your teeth, and I have a big mirror there, and there's something that it's like the person's always next to you, and you're like kind of looking and like laughing, and the first time or first few times that happens always feels like a big intimate thing to me.
And then when you're married, you're like, can you get out of the bathroom so I can pee and brush my teeth at the same time?
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, well, what am I supposed to do? Not my problem.
No.
Not my problem.
Wait, but do you pee and brush your teeth at the same time? Because for us,
I try to
that's a stand-up
multitask.
thing.
I try to multitask as much as possible when it comes to routines.
Again, rational thinker. Right there.
I do squats while I brush my teeth and
What?
floss. I exercise while I
That's good.
because I hate flossing and I hate exercise.
I feel like flossing, you could just hold the floss still and you do squats.
So my
and it
question
gets
is,
out of
when
you.
you
go
combine
too
the
far,
two things that you hate, do you like squatting and flossing?
It feels so great.
So it's
Interesting.
that's crazy.
Yeah, two wrongs can make a right.
Wow.
You heard it here first.
Mm.
You guys, can I jump in for a
Yeah,
second because
please.
I am
do.
a sort of I think probably rational to the point of insensitivity. I just pointed to Jon. I don't think Jon's insensitive at all. But my heart really goes out because I think that putting a lot of meaning into small things in the beginning of a relationship is so normal, and it's just
This isn't the beginning of the relationship.
That's a good point.
But it's the beginning of the second time around.
the beginning of the worst mistake.
No, but I think it's indicative of not feeling secure in a relationship because and it's not for me it's more analytical than intuitive that you're ascribing meaning to these things that we have the ability to see are pretty meaningless and are just creating more problems and drama. But when you're in it and when you're in love and you're sleeping with
Yeah.
someone and you have all those chemicals rushing, you're not being rational.
No, that is really
Did
true.
you see
And-
how awkward he was when he kissed her after giving her that toothbrush head? She knew. She knew it meant nothing.
I do
You
think
had to have.
I think you're really right, though, and I think I was wrong. It is analytical. It's not intuitive. It's analytical because she's thinking about it the whole time, saying, "Oh, okay, this means this."
Then you just get too much in your head, and that's I
Totally.
think what
I think you're
kills a
right.
lot of relationships. You just got to get out of your head,
Get out of your head.
get into your
then
feet.
what would
Get
you
into-
recommend?
Get out of your head and into your heart.
What happened last episode? Because we didn't talk much about the big, and there was another thing that parallels to this.
Last episode,
She was dancing
sleep-
with. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, last episode, she
Yes.
was secretly sleeping with Big and not telling her friends.
Yes.
And then they found out and they confronted her and she got mad. And then at the end, they go to this weird supper club and she like wants him to be
The
like, we're
last-
back on, and he won't say it.
And the last thing that basically she says
And
we're official, whatever that means.
Yes, exactly.
And so, so I guess what would your advice, if Carrie's your friend, what would your advice, Rebekah, be to her to be like, she comes to you, she's like, okay, he did this toothbrush thing, and then we're going to this wedding, and he didn't sign the thing. And then they don't go to the wedding. It's before that. They get out of the cab on the way to the wedding, and you get coffee with her for an hour, and she confides in you. What would you say?
The first thing I would say is that the way you're feeling is totally valid.
You really are a
Can
good
we
friend.
please go all around the circle and share what we would say?
Yeah, for sure.
And it would probably be an hour to come to the point of just you have the power to leave this at any moment, but why don't you just take it day by day? You don't have to make a decision tonight. And then when all else fails, it's like, let's go for a walk. That's my advice.
You would with her, or she should say that to Big?
Oh, no. Like, usually with a girlfriend, I think. Because when you're worked up like that, I think there's really like, you can't talk yourself down. You can't think your way out of being too much in your head. That's counterintuitive. So I just try to distract my friends. It's not just girlfriends. It's all genders.
you just, I feel like, wait, I don't know if this is what just happened, but I will say it because I feel like this happens to me. You said it happens to all genders, and then you backed up and you were like, you mouthed the words like, what did I just, and I feel like on this podcast,
It literally looked like you were coming up out of water
Yes.
and taking a breath of air.
I feel like all the time,
with my male friends as well.
but I feel like all the time on this podcast, I will say something and I'm like, I don't know, I'm a guy watching the show. What is what I just said okay? I don't know if it's what I said. Oh my God. Oh!
And it's going to be on the internet forever.
It's just like, my goal is not to be on Jezebel.com, is what I said.
I don't, listen, whatever I just said right now is the story we need, and I don't know.
Rebekah thinks it's only okay to take walks with her female friends and tell them to settle down, because apparently only women are the people that need to settle down.
Rebekah Melocik doesn't think men can walk.
It's true.
Why don't you think men can walk, Rebekah?
Oh, I have such an inappropriate answer.
Yes.
What's happening?
Yes.
Well, I want to hear the advice you guys would give to your friend.
Okay.
Oh, that was so fun.
So the scenario is Carrie is what paint the scenario again, Kevin.
Basically, you have to give her advice about those two things.
About the toothbrush thing?
About the toothbrush, and then simultaneously the thing. He let me have a toothbrush, and then he wouldn't sign the card. What does it mean? And then you're there.
I would say you can't change a person. You've been with this person before for a very long time, and you know that they are not going to go out of their way to do anything special, and they're also not going to go out of their way to intentionally hurt you. They're just coasting, and you're a part of their life. You're like he's one of those big whale sharks, and you are a little suction cup on the underside of him, just being dragged along right now.
God.
And he is on a course that is charted in his big whale shark brain for a distant point in the ocean, and he's going there. And if you want to ride along, it's going to be the whale shark's world. So get off of him, release off of him, and go find a different sea creature to be with, Carrie, or else you're gonna be unhappy.
It's oh man, you did a really good one in there. You did a good.
Wow.
We'll insert one in and
I
post.
thought it was the end of it.
So the girl, Carrie, goes on a walk, and then she goes back to get more advice, and then she's shattered by Jon, and then she's just like, man, I don't want to jump off a building. I'm going to go talk to my friend Cory for advice.
Also, in Jon's scenario, is Carrie the Little Mermaid?
No,
Because there's a fish man that she's in love with.
no, she's the confused.
Right.
She's the confused fish that sucks on to the body of a larger fish.
Right.
But she has a pack of cigarettes and a laptop.
That is true.
She's always smoking inside the ocean, and it's like, that's impressive.
That's great. But it's how, it's before the underwater smoking ban. Great answer, Jon. Oof. I think I would say, okay, I could see how those things make you feel a little nervous or maybe compromised. You have been in this before. I don't know if it's going to change, but also if you want to be here, maybe just kind of know what you're getting into. Know that this could continue like this. And if you want to leave, you could leave. But if you don't feel like you can leave now, then maybe you just and maybe you don't have to leave, but maybe just like be in this right now. I understand how that makes you feel. I'm here if you want to talk, and it might not get easier, but maybe it will over time, because I do think I think over time it's slow, but I do think people can change.
You heard it here first. Cory Cavin thinks women are slow and can't change.
I believe I ended with people can change.
Unless you're a woman.
Cory thinks women change all the time.
That's true.
Women do change all
We
the
are
time.
mercurial.
Look at the fashion in this series. They're always changing clothes. Thank you, Patricia Field. Kevin, what about you? Kevin, you're up.
I would say that they need to communicate more about these things, and they need to have, like, you're saying, get off. I'm
saying you're
hey,
dumb.
Barnacle, get off.
You're literally a dumb person because you've been through this before, and he's doing the same exact things that he did before.
What I would say, though, is I would say, like, if what you need right now is to share this common goal, then you need to communicate that, because I don't think just knowing the end of the series that they end up together maybe inform some of this. Maybe if we're like, is this Turtle Hightower, or is this a guy who will be in the next episode? I would say, like, he doesn't give a shit. He's not going to be in season 3. So maybe that informs it. But I do think it's like she doesn't share any of that with him. And you can only share so much, but like the stuff she shares with him is like, so we're dancing at the supper club, and he's like, and just like that, we were official, whatever that means. Well, if you're about to get back together with him, then why don't you be like, what does official mean to you? And with this, it'd be like, obviously, if she said the monologue in her head about the toothbrushes, then he's going to be like, you need to leave, you're a psycho. But she does need to communicate with him how much these things mean to her, because it's not that she's a complete idiot, but it is that those things mean a lot to her, and they don't mean as much to him, but they don't need to. But she needs to communicate that she's like sensitive, and I don't think she does.
Yeah, it's just hard. It's hard. Like, I say this as someone who has very thick skin. I'm usually the one that's like being talked to. You need to be more receptive to my feelings. But it's just, I don't know. I think it's really scary to speak up for what you want, especially because Big has so much power in their relationship.
Because he's 7 feet tall.
Because he's, and so strong. Have you noticed?
All his suits look like they're a size quadruple XL.
No, I think just because even though Carrie ended it the last time, she felt like he wasn't. She's always felt this way. We know this. He doesn't show up enough, and I think that when you're already worried about scaring somebody away, it makes it even harder to feel like it's low stakes, because that's really what it is. It's super low stakes, but because she wants to do everything right, so she doesn't want to mess it up again, it feels so high stakes. And that's the question: like, how do you convince someone or yourself that it's actually low stakes?
Why is it low stakes, do you say?
Because it's a toothbrush.
Oh, I thought you meant their relationship. Oh.
I mean,
toothbrush thing is low stakes.
Honestly, I know they've been together before, but for me, it's like, well, it's still kind of low stakes. You're getting to know each other better, and you're taking a second chance, but
you might never see him again after this, and it could just be like that dude that I dated. We got back together for a second, then it was over.
But aren't all relationships low stakes until someone starts to care, and then it's like, oh, this became high stakes.
Well,
like it's low stakes for Samantha because she's just screwing people, and she's like,
but then it becomes high stakes, which is like, I screwed you 15 years ago.
But that's about her pride. No, Kevin, I think you're 100% right that when you care, it does become high stakes, which is why all those little things feel so high stakes for Carrie. And I guess that's it. It's like, Carrie's not wrong on one hand. Like Jon said, all the signs are there, but when do you keep hoping? When do you let go of disappointment? Because relationships are also full of disappointment and letdowns. Not mine.
Well, that's when she needs to lean on her friends, which she did. And when they told her she was an idiot, she got super pissed and peaced out on them.
But that you kind of
when did that happen?
That was
the last episode when she was
in the cheating curve.
Confronted when she told them all, and they're like, "You are a dumb person," and she's like, "I'm mad. I'm going home. I'm going back to Biggs."
Yeah.
Like usually, a general rule of thumb is if a lot of your friends tell you that your relationship is shitty, it's probably shitty.
I can confirm that is true.
And even though it feels like it's not shitty and it
Yeah.
feels like it's great and it feels like you might be able to save the person and change the person and you're receiving a lot of good signs, if the people that you've selected to be your support network are like, this is a bad deal,
Yeah.
and they have the courage to actually say that to you, you need to really take stock into what they're saying because it probably is a really bad situation.
Yeah, that is I feel like the older you get and the more relationships you see around, like in your life and in other people's, that's the truest thing that I read in a book. And then you repeated it. That it's like those, your parents, your siblings, your best friends, those are the people that know you, whether you.
And it's really hard to tell someone that they don't like your relationship. Like that's usually like the last straw.
Because
like when
then they'll put distance between. Like you will not.
Like if I have a friend who's like, what do you think of this person? I have to really actually think it's a bad deal for me to speak truthfully about that and not just be like, well, they're kind of cool. Like they like that one movie that we like that's fun, you know. So
that's true.
Anyway, let's move on from Big and Carrie and talk about some of the other goofs in this episode because there were a lot of great ones. We talked a little bit about the guest book, the whole déjà fuck.
Samantha's
deal.
Which like she meets this guy because they're sitting out on the stoop at Miranda's Miranda throws the party for the guy has his going away party where he gets engaged and Miranda really wanted to marry that dude. They're sitting outside. Dude walks up to the stoop. She's like, I'll take him to the party.
And she's kind of dressed like Uncle Sam. Have you noticed? She's wearing like
Uncle Samantha. I did not notice that.
How is there not an Uncle Samantha Instagram account?
Oh my god!
I want you to fuck me.
Oh man!
All right, keep going.
Yeah, so they go upstairs and then they're banging, and then wait, when you assume he's like orgasming, but
tug my hair. Tug my hair.
What does he say?
Tug my hair.
Tug my hair.
His hair's too short to tug.
His hair is like kind of high and tight on the sides.
He's got to grow it out if that's what he's into.
Tug my hair.
Tug my hair.
Also, tug, pull. Who says tug my hair?
And if that's short, you got to tug it.
I guess that.
I just want a tiny bit of pain on my top of my head.
Tug my hair.
But that's like the perfect thing for her to trigger her memory from 15 years ago.
It had to be specific. Yeah.
Tug my hair.
And then I guess he was like,
you're
I
still
thought
into that after all these years?
I know, it's weird. And you never grew your hair out. But yeah, he thought they were sexy role playing.
Right.
But that sends her into kind of existential crises.
Yeah.
Because then she's like,
are there no more fish in the sea?
You know what surprises me about
Have
that?
I
caught and released all the fish?
What surprises me though is that she has to have a range of ages that she is okay with, and people keep getting older, so there's always got to be a fresh batch of
she's the McConaughey of New York.
Yeah,
is that what he does?
Well, that's what I like. From Days of Confused. That's what I like about those high school girls.
Wooderson.
I get older. They stay the same age. That line meant something a lot different when you were like in high school, but now that I'm like a 35-year-old man, it really should invoke the.
Well, there was in high school, it was funny. There like a creep when there was like the creep that was around high school was like, oh, that dude's such a creep. And then I feel like once you're the age of those people and you see those creeps, you know them up close and personal. You're like, oh, that's like fucking weird.
Yeah.
So
says the guy with a nice, freshly shaved mustache.
Oh no, it's beautiful.
Just kidding.
All your mustaches are beautiful.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I guess John and I technically have mustaches because we have beards. Yeah. So wait, that takes them into their philosophical little lunch. Which did you guys notice while they have that lunch? Miranda was just chowing down on something. Every shot of her, she was like, meow, meow.
Well, I thought
like
that was our first, as we called it. Jennifer Armstrong said this, the Socratic
dialogue.
Dialogues.
That was our Socratic dialogue. But this was the first one that wasn't like, what do you think of cunnilingus? This one, like, they were all mad at each other.
And I like
there was lots of tension.
Yeah, they all kind of stole the scene back.
Yeah.
Like everyone was. Yeah, I really liked it.
They didn't want to be talking and with each other. Like, they all wanted to storm out, but they were there just like working it out. I thought it was one of the cool.
I wrote that too. I wrote so good diner talk.
Yeah. Because they were fighting. They were fighting in a way that was like this underlying thing. They're all dealing with this different shit right now.
Yeah. We talk a lot on the show about most New York and least New York thing. I think that diner talk super New York, and then of course the stoop. When they were all outside in the stoop after the
Smoking
wedding.
and talking.
Drinking on the stoop.
If you've
and stuff.
ever lived in New York City, you have had a night where you are drinking out on the stoop, talking with your friends.
Yeah.
Every single person's
That's
had one.
totally true. And they're just walking on the sidewalk with a bottle of wine.
You've never done that?
No, I've totally done that. It's just because I also was thinking about what's the most New York moment, and mine was so sad, which was the like people will jerk off on you on the subway.
Oh yeah.
Well, so they said that. They said jerk off on you on the subway. And John was like, jerk off on you. But like, as three men, I've watched a guy put his hand down his pants and then kind of pull down some big sweatpants and his dingling came out. But I've had way less experiences of that than, unfortunately, lots of girls I know have had a lot of experiences with that.
Yeah.
How many times would you say a guy has jerked off in front of you on the subway?
Never. It's never happened to me, but it's happened to multiple girlfriends, and really, and not even just on the subway, but like they get off the train, looking at them, making
my gosh.
really inappropriate. I mean, it's all inappropriate, but eye contact, deep eye contact.
I don't get it.
Well, it's also terrifying when it's 1 a.m. and there's only 2 people there, or like when there's on the subway and there's like not a lot of people around.
Yeah.
There's. Have you guys seen the movie Shame
No.
with Michael Fassbender?
Oh no, is Lars von Trier?
No, that's the guy that directed
sex
that.
one.
Shame is the sex one. Michael Fassbender's a sex addict. He lives in New York. But anyway, there's a scene where like he's just constantly like making eye contact with women on the subway, but he ends up like having affairs with them. But I was gonna say like there's got to be a way for people to make eye contact, like flirty eye contact on the subway, but like know the line when you're like, hey, chill out on that eye contact.
Well, the guys that are jerking off in
Don't
front of
touch your
people
wiener.
aren't there to flirt.
No, but when you were saying people are making eye contact, do you mean get off the subway, start masturbating, and then stare at someone?
I mean, like sitting on the subway, looking at somebody, and then start masturbating on the
Gotcha.
subway.
Okay.
While making intense eye contact.
Who is on the subway where they're not jumping on and like beating the shit out of these guys?
Have you? There was a really good video. It was like 6 months ago or a year, and there was a guy that was like he was just like looking at this girl, and she got her phone out and she just goes off on him. She's like, are you fucking looking at me? She just goes off on him, and
Good.
she forces him to like get up and get off the subway. And yeah, it was like, and I mean, you get like a clear shot of him, and she's just railing on him for like
Good.
2 minutes. It's good. Well,
were you
I'll try and
bummed
find
when she got that shot of you?
I was just cooling off.
My mom said when she came and visited New York one time, I was staying out and I gave her the keys. I was like, you're 2 stops away, get on the subway. And she's like, is it safe? And I was like, yeah, Mom, it's going to be fine. She's like, okay. She's like, I just don't want to get murdered or raped. And I was like, Mom, no one's going to murder you. No one's going to rape you. And she's like, hey, someone could rape me.
Who'd want to R her anyway?
Yeah. But my mom.
That's an Arrested
thought
Development
that-
quote.
Yeah,
This is Doyle.
yeah.
I'm not saying it for you.
But there is like I just feel there's a Master of None episode about it, but it's the subway, being alone on the subway at night will never be the same for us versus what it is for a girl.
If
Like
you're totally
absolutely.
alone, it's fun because you can dance all over the train car and no one knows.
yeah,
Exactly.
one other dude staring.
But what other dudes
let's
are you?
let's
And then he
curtail
critiques
this,
dancing.
Let's keep
this
moving.
conversation into the tushy squeeze.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Charlotte meets this dude. They fall in love with the wedding. They go
Athletic
upstairs.
BJ Novak.
Yeah,
we'll call him.
athletic BJ. He did look like athletic BJ Novak. They go upstairs and get a bang in, come back down, and immediately meet his parents, which is like a Charlotte dream to be like,
Yeah.
I think this guy's the one. They even say, the mom says to him, like, could this be the one?
Yeah,
Then,
because she's like, did I ruin it by just having sex with him?
right.
Yeah.
And then the dad is like, oh, well, I'd love to dance with you. And then
You're
he
a wonderful-
immediately, right. What does he say?
I don't know. He's like,
Yeah.
you're a beautiful dancer.
Yeah. And then he just gets a handful of her butt cheek.
Yeah.
Like a second into the dance.
And then he's like, I gotta run. I gotta go jerk off on people in front of the subway. Yeah, the dad's a super mega creep.
Right.
The sad part about it is that then Charlotte tells the guy, then the guy just goes off.
Yeah.
Like 0 to 10
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
in a way that is very clearly like that's my dad. Like he
Right.
needs his dad to be perfect.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting situation because the guy, obviously, the dad, complete asshole. The guy acted like a complete asshole. But if I were to put myself in his shoes, my dad is a wonderful man. And if some girl that I met at a wedding was like, your dad did this to me, I have no idea how I would react. I would be like, I just met you. I've known my dad my whole life. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like,
yeah.
I think I would have been more like, huh? Like, that doesn't compute. Like, that's 1 + 1 = 3 for me.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, you're a demon, Charlotte. But
Well, I'm sure they had to wrap that up quickly, and it was more dramatic that way. That's like, okay, like,
yeah, but what would you do? Like, what would you do if you were at a wedding and that exact same scenario happened, and some girl you had spent 30 minutes with, all intimate minutes, was like,
yeah,
hey, your dad just totally like grabbed me and made out with me.
Well, no, just grabbed her, not made out with her. Because like, what actually happened in the show?
Okay, sorry. Yeah, your dad just grabbed my ass.
Don't make that guy into a worse character, John. He
I'm
just
just-
grabbed Charlotte's ass. That's it. He did not make out with her.
What
Just
would
kidding.
you
What
do?
he-
Like,
what he
what would
did
you
is
do?
terrible.
It's crazy, right?
I'm not siding with that
I would be taken aback.
Yeah. It was an interesting little dilemma there.
Are you guys not going to ask what I would do
Well-
about my dad?
Yeah, what would you do?
Throw him under the bus.
Yeah.
Just kidding. My dad.
I never
is
loved you anyway, Dad.
No, not the case. My dad's a wonderful man, and I would have the same response. I would be like,
Huh?
he's one of the kindest people I've ever met and helps people out. But I would also be like, oh, okay, hang on. Wait, what'd you say? Wait, what? I think part of that might speak to the fact that like I've met both your dads. We all have very wonderful fathers. We're very lucky to have that. And maybe that guy, part of his reaction was like, that dude's a dirtbag and his dad was a dirtbag. And I also think you're right. It's like, it was TV where they're like, they got to wrap this up and they got to create a thing. But I mean, it was obviously like terrible thing.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons I think that we all need to slow down in our love lives. Not you, John, you're married.
But John, really, slow it down.
Pump the brakes,
Seriously,
John.
really.
Pump the brakes. You hear that, Katie?
Pump the brakes.
The brakes.
No, because, and maybe it's going to work out for Jeremy and the dancing frog lady, but, Charlotte moves so fast with him. And I think you got to take it slow because you got to get to know somebody. It's those complicated chemical feelings again, when you get so excited talking about what the future's going to be like. And then you're like, no, I could never be part of this family.
It's those complicated chemical feelings.
My parents
You're a lyricist.
met.
Trying to give you something.
My parents met. They went on a date, and 3 weeks later they were engaged, and 3 months later they were married. So
Wow.
under 4 months. But when they talk about it, they're like, "Yeah, we got lucky. It was like we loved each
Really?
other, and they were committed, but they were like They were like, first few years we're figuring out who we were and like learning that stuff.
Right.
But there wasn't a single part that it was just like, whoa, you're this. Like they were on the same page enough.
Mhm.
But a lot of it just is luck. They didn't know each other in the ways that you know someone of 5 years.
One thing I wanted to say real quick that I just realized is we talk about weather thematic things linked up in this, but when they're on the stoop drinking, Charlotte defends the couple at the engagement. She's like, it was
Mhm.
love at first sight. And then
Right.
later what falls apart for Charlotte is love at first sight. With
Yeah.
that guy, she sees him, they sleep together, and then it all falls apart with the dad tushy squeeze. So love
called-
at first sight.
Do you guys believe in love at first sight?
No.
Sorry. No.
No,
I don't think so.
I
No,
don't.
I don't.
Not even close.
Well, that's easy.
You?
No, but I will say that the first time I saw my boyfriend, I was like, hubba hubba, that's the guy.
I
Wow.
believe in magic in that way.
Yeah.
And I also believe in
Well,
magic. I couldn't finish it.
Well, I
was
hope
just
you do.
I also believe in dragons and
You'll-
all other kinds of magic.
I actually wanted to bring this up. Do you know elves?
So
I heard about a sorcerer that could take the liquid from the sky and freeze it onto puddle.
You
But
can
not
live
11%.
forever.
Have you heard of Darth Pelagius the Wise?
no, what is that?
Is that a magic card?
Oh god.
If anyone knows what that is, just let us know on Instagram.
If-
You know what?
I will
we will
personally,
give you a
I will
book.
personally send you a book.
We'll give you one identification.
What is the name again?
Sex and the City books.
I don't remember the pronunciation.
Okay.
Okay.
You guys heard.
Wait, hold on. I'm not trying to keep us longer. It was so funny. But when Charlotte said the love at first sight thing, it took us back to the people talking straight to camera, which we haven't seen that in a couple episodes.
Yeah.
And that also makes me kind of feel like the episode was a little bit of a mess because like we see that and we all go, I don't know. It just that
Do I believe it happens? Yes. Do I believe that it's something that can be copied or articulated in any way. Like, no, like it happens and then it works out with some people, and you can only diagnose it after it has happened and worked out.
True.
That's true. Because I had another boyfriend. The first time I saw him, I was like, hubba hubba, he's the one.
So that could that just be
This is just the latest of the hubba hubba.
yeah,
He's the
could
one.
that just be how you react to someone that you're attracted to?
Maybe.
Yeah, in
not
a
a
very
bad-
old-fashioned cartoon way. Hubba hubba.
Did your eyes go shoot out of your head? And
Most
old timey car
definitely.
horn went off too.
Yeah.
All right.
Last time.
Let's go around the circle and do our Cosmo rating. 1 to 5 Cosmos. It is very hot in here.
It's very steamy in
Let's do
here.
a speed Cosmo round here.
Speed Cosmo round.
1 to 5. 5 being the best Sex and the City episode you've ever seen. 1 being rubbish. Where do you guys put it? I'll start. I'm going 2 Cosmos with this episode. And if anyone else does 2 Cosmos, they strictly copied what I said, and it was not original.
Okay.
But, yeah, 2 Cosmos. It was very disjointed. I did love the diner scene. I think the diner scene was one of my favorite scenes that we've had in season 2, but felt a little bit disjointed. Didn't really know what was happening with the chicken dance. And Carrie and Big is kind of driving me a little bit nuts right now.
Bonkers.
So I want something to happen with that.
Okay. We're doing quarter Cosmos too, right?
We can do quarter Cosmos.
1.75.
Whoa.
Partially just so I don't have to copy John because I'd already had 2 in my head. But I think it was like, I don't know. One thing that's interesting is the woman that wrote it is a great writer. She was an EP, I think, on Modern Family.
Oh, okay.
And writes on the show Divorce. So, hey, listen, Cindy Shoepack, if you're listening, I think your work is great, and I got a spec script I'd love to send you. However, just felt a little all over the place, although there was a good Power Miranda outfit in there, the pinstripe thing,
Oh, yeah.
the pinstripe suit that she was wearing at the diner talk. But I don't know, it felt from our last episode, that one thematically seemed like it wove together a lot better. This one I wasn't as into.
I will give it a 2.5. I think I like the last episode better, and I gave that a 3, but I think it tied. I feel like if we watch this again in 6 months, you guys would like this episode. I feel like it did tie together thematically, and I don't know. I feel like maybe it's the heat, but I will say that I'm giving it -0.5 point because of the bad porn jazz music that was
my
played
gosh, that was
during
so
the Chris
bad.
Noth. But I did think about that because we didn't mention it, but I did think that was kind of the clue at the beginning of the episode. That's like, she's calling to be like, hey, Big, and he's like, what are you wearing? Like, he thinks of her as a sex object even when he just woke up. And I do think that was a bit of a clue into a warning sign for her that
She's had so many warning signs.
I know, but I'm saying for us, it was like,
Okay.
Big still thinks of her as like, what are you wearing? Not like, hey,
Sure.
sweetheart, like, what are you wearing, sweetheart? You know, like, what are you
What are
wearing?
you
Throw
wearing,
that sweetheart in
sweetheart?
there.
And then when she's like, denim, and he's like, oh yeah, I love denim. Like,
Meet me on the subway track. Oh,
she's got denim on. So I give it a 2.5. The most enjoyable part about it was watching it with you guys and you as well.
Thanks, Kevin.
This different experience. I'm going to give it a 3.5 Cosmos because, and I don't want to make this a female thing, but I think that analytical putting weight where perhaps you wouldn't put weight if you weren't in love. I feel like I have a bunch of friends going through that right now. So it feels very relevant to me. And the marriage thing too. You know, I'm a girl in my mid-30s and the marriage thing really messes with your head. Not my head, I think, as much as some other friends, but I'm in a long relationship. But you know, that question about what kind of worth does it give you? Even in 2018, sadly, is like programmed in there.
Sure.
So I get it.
I'm giving it a 4.5 now.
Actually, now that you say that,
I will say, although
I want to apologize about my
No,
interpretation of the toothbrushes.
Kevin could be right. There might be more things that come together with it.
Don't
But
forget, Rebekah doesn't think men can walk.
never
What
mind.
does she
I'm
know?
done. Also, very un-New York thing in this episode. They decided to get married super quick and like booked a booked
the
a
Plaza.
wedding at the Plaza
No
in
way.
like 2 weeks. Come on.
get out of here.
Rebekah, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me at Greerling, Greerling. All my names are hard. Rebekah is spelled funny. Melocik is not a real name. Greerling is part of my middle name.
Do you have any shows coming up? If there's anything on the calendar, we could do it. I saw one of your musicals last year. About what was it called? About the pigeons?
It was called Ringer. It was a
Ringer.
Kids,
So good.
it was a kids
Kevin
show about
continues
killing
to be incredibly
pigeons.
prepared on your life.
No, and you can also look at my website, which is melocik.com, melocik.com.
I pronounce that melocik.com.
Melocik.com, melocik.com.
She writes some wonderful musicals, and you have a bunch in the works, and some of them are going to be going. So follow Rebekah's career.
Last question before we go. If someone were to come to New York City in 2 weeks and see a Broadway show, what should they see?
They should go see Harry Potter, but they'll have to murder someone to go see it.
If they don't feel like murdering, cool brag. If they don't feel like murdering someone, what show do they see?
They should see Come From Away.
Come From Away.
My aunt and uncle saw that last night.
Really? Did they like it?
Yeah, they thought it was great. They thought it was amazing.
I'm sort of a cynical I'm a New Yorker now because I've been here 12 years, and
Heck yeah, you are.
I was crying a lot. It makes you feel things.
Wow. Come
There you
From
have it.
Away.
Come From Away or Harry Potter if you feel like murdering someone.
Right.
Yeah.
If you are yourself the cursed child, do it.
Awesome.
Thank you, Rebekah.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
guys.
This was so fun.
And talk to us on Bradshaw Boys on our Instagram and Twitter, and because we look at that, and we'll try and answer questions about the episode or anything you guys we can talk about. Send us messages on that or comment on us, and we'll talk about you on the podcast.
And don't forget, this episode was brought to you by our favorite 90s contraception, Diaphragms. So thank you, Diaphragms, for sponsoring this episode.
Yeah,
Keeping it
thank you
going.
so much, Diaphragm.
Keeping it going.
Bye.
The Bradshaw Boys stars Cory Cavin, Jon Sieber, and Kevin James Doyle. The show is produced by Jeremy L. Balon. For more information on the guys, check out their website at bradshawboys.com, on social media at The Bradshaw Boys, and if you see them in the street, tip your glass. Thanks for listening.